Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jose, but you can call me Juice, and I hope y'all are having a great motherfucking planty day. So today we're going to be doing some plant chores, so if you would like to come along with me, please make sure to stick around. Also feel free to do your own plant chores while this video plays in the background. And if you didn't know, I'll be uploading plant content here every Wednesday and Friday, so if you'd be looking for that, I got you. And maybe you should go ahead and check out my other videos. And if you already have, you should definitely think about clicking that subscribe button down there. Also, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. I would really appreciate it, and it would also really help my channel out. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna get into is planting some alocasia corms. So basically, I have had some alocasia amazonica polycorms that I was able to get when I repotted that plant. I actually did that in a video. I'll put the card up if you want to go ahead and check that out. But that was back when my alocasia was back in the One Leaf Club. And if y'all have seen her in my videos lately, you know she is thriving these days. But I've had these corms ever since then, and I've been meaning to pot these up for such a long time, but for some reason I just kept putting it off. So today I'm finally gonna plant them, and hopefully some of them will sprout. I think they should still be good, but here they are. Oh, I just dropped one. But I think as long as they're still hard, they will work. Here's a little alocasia corm. We'll see which ones actually sprout and which ones don't. But I'm hoping at least one of them does, because that would be really nice. But yeah, anyways, let's just get right into it. Alright, so I have this little plastic container that I saved from Fred Meyer's. It used to have fruit in it, and y'all, that fruit was so good. But most importantly, we have a plastic container we can reuse for plants. And then I also have this sphagnum moss and pumice mixture, which is actually my carnivorous potting soil at the moment. I actually potted my nepenthes or pitcher plant into this in a video not that long ago. But I just think this is a really good mixture, and I think the corms would really enjoy growing in this. So we're gonna go ahead and reuse this. And then of course we got our corms, but let's go ahead and plant these babies up. All right, so y'all aren't gonna really be able to see me, but you're gonna be able to see what's going on in here. But anyways, let's go ahead and put some of this potting mix in there. All right, so this is what it's looking like. I think it's looking really good. And now let's go ahead and put the corms in here. So you are supposed to plant them a certain way. I think you plant them like this, upside down. I don't know. I'm gonna start with this one, which I feel like is definitely gonna sprout, or at least I hope it does, because it is the biggest one out of all of them. And like I said, they are still hard, which means they're still good to plant. So I'm excited to do this. Anyways, let's go ahead and put her in here. Aww, she's so cute. Let's go ahead and put the rest in there. All right, y'all, so I got them all planted in here. So hopefully some of them sprout. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on. Oh wait, actually, before I do that, I do wanna water this with some Super Thrive water, just so I can give these a little boost. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so I mixed it up in this spray bottle, and I also put some liquid dirt in here, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray them down. I'm also gonna pour some to be like a little reservoir on the bottom. And now we're gonna put the lid on. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a bright and warm spot. Hopefully one of these will sprout and we'll have a little alocasia baby. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next task. All right, so next up, we're gonna be tearing down my moss wall. And if y'all didn't know, I have my philodendron burle marx growing up it right now. Kind of. I don't keep the moss wall moist enough for her to actually be like rooting and growing into it, but she definitely knows it's there because she has put out little aerial roots trying to grab onto something. But the reason I'm tearing it down is because I really don't have an efficient way of keeping it moist. But I will be making a new moss pole for her because I feel like if I have her on a moss pole, I can actually like keep the moss moist and she can actually root into the pole. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so I know the lighting is not going to be best at this angle, but I just wanted y'all to be able to see me working. But yeah, speaking of, let's go ahead and get my philodendron burle marx off the moss wall. So I'll move some plants out the way. Oh, freak. Originally, when I got this moss pole, I actually made this out of a trellis. I did it for a video, so if you haven't seen that, maybe you want to go ahead and check that out. But my original plan was to put the trellis in the pot with the plant, but I ended up not having a big enough pot, so the trellis just sits here above the pot that the plant is actually planted in. So if I was to try and like water the moss wall, I would kind of get like water everywhere, which is why I haven't been keeping it moist, because I don't want to be making a mess trying to keep it watered. So a moss pole will definitely be a lot easier to maintain, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop rambling and let's go ahead and start taking her off this thing. So I hope she doesn't just like fall and flop over because I don't want her to snap in half or anything. So she is not tied to the moss wall anymore. So now I just gotta move her. So here's my philodendron burle marx, y'all. I know this is crazy. Y'all can barely see her, but y'all, she's gotten pretty tall. So I'm really excited to put her on a moss pole because I'm sure she will really appreciate that. But I'm gonna go ahead and set her to the side really quick and we're gonna continue tearing down the moss wall. So I got y'all on the floor now and we're gonna go ahead and start cutting this moss wall open. So let me lay her down real quick. I already know this is gonna leave such a mess on my floor, but I was kind of assuming to have to vacuum anyway, so instead of like cutting the netting itself, because I want to be able to reuse it, I'm just gonna cut all the zip ties and then she should be able to just unravel and we can get the moss in there. So let's get started. I low-key might regret doing this because I honestly really liked how this moss pole turned out, but I just don't have the right environment for it right now, so I'll probably make another one in the future whenever I have an actual place for it, but for now, I'm gonna have to stick to moss poles. But like I said, if y'all wanna see how I made this, check out that video. All right, so I think I got all the zip ties off. So like I said, we should be able to just unravel her now. Oh my God. Everything is like bent into shape. But yeah, now I can access all the moss in here. So now I'm just gonna take all the moss out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the moss into this baggie right here. All right. Let's get into it. All right, so as you can see, we freaking have just a trellis now. Basically, this was the base of my moss wall, and I'll be reusing this trellis for my begonia whenever she is ready to pot up. If y'all didn't know, I cut up my begonia in my chopping my plants up video, so if y'all have not seen that, definitely check it out. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the side. And now we have all of this moss we're able to use. But yeah, now let's get into making the moss pole. So first off, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up this netting. This was wrapped around the moss wall, so we're gonna go ahead and reuse it for the moss pole. So I think I'm gonna keep the length because I do kind of want this moss pole to be pretty tall because my philodendron's pretty tall. So I want her to have plenty of space to be able to grow up. I'm just gonna cut a good section out first. And if it's too big, I can always cut it a little bit smaller, but let's go ahead and do that. All right, but now that we have our plastic netting all cut out, we are just gonna be adding the moss. So I'm gonna go ahead and wet some of this moss in this bowl right here. But I'm also going to be putting something else in with the moss. Basically, I have some bark chips right here. And I've seen people make like bark poles where it's like a moss pole, but they like fill it up with bark instead. So today I wanted to do like a hybrid of that and do moss and bark, but other than that, everything else is the same. So let's just get into it. All right, so I got our moss all moistened up, so let's go ahead and start making the moss pole. So I'm thinking I'll put a little layer of moss first, and then we'll add some bark chips, and then I'll put some more moss over that, and then we'll just kind of go from there. All right, let's add some bark chips now. So this is how everything is looking so far. I think this moss and bark mix looks really good. So now we just need to tie the moss pole up. All right, guys, so here is our moss pole. I think it turned out really good, but yeah, you can't even really tell that there's bark chips in here. I mean, you can see some on the sides in the back, but only more so in the back. The front pretty much looks just like moss, which honestly, I don't really have a problem with. Anyways, let's go ahead and freaking get to repotting my philodendron burle marx now. All right, so we got my philodendron burle marx right here. She's just chilling out while I get everything ready for her, but I am going to be repotting her. I actually didn't repot her that long ago, I don't think. Maybe a couple months ago I repotted her, but basically the pot that she is in, I don't really like because it's a self-watering pot, but like you can't see the water reservoir or anything, so I'm always like low-key afraid I'm gonna end up rotting this thing on accident one of these days. So I'm gonna be moving her into this pot instead, which I actually painted with my boyfriend in a video like maybe a year ago now. So I'll put the card up for that as well. But this was the pot that I painted, and it's just a cute little pot. And I think she would look really nice in here. And in general, I think it'd be a nice upgrade for her because obviously it's got a drainage hole, so I don't have to worry about possibly rotting her. And then also, I just kind of want to give her a fresh new soil mix. I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking and I'm gonna start doing. So let's get her out of this pot. All right, so I got my little repotting tray right here. And now we're gonna take her out of this pot. I'm gonna have to do this really carefully because as y'all saw, she's really tall. So I really don't want to damage anything. Okay. Whew. I'm interested to see how much the roots have grown since I've potted her in here. Oh, dang. I just found some roots. Hopefully I wasn't ripping up more, but I think she's like really rooted into here, y'all. Okay, so I finally got her out. I did, unfortunately, break some roots. She actually grew her roots through the freaking self-watering tray. Honestly, those roots grew like crazy because they were not this established when I potted her in here. All right, so I did get the root ball out of the pot, and I just have my philodendron burle marx sitting over here while we get her new pot ready for her. But don't worry, I will show you guys the root ball before I pot her up. Like I said, we are gonna be making a new soil mix for her. So I'm just gonna be reusing this bowl that we use for the moss. So I have my soil mix that I usually use. And what's going to make the soil mix different this time is that I'm going to be adding leca to it. I've seen people use leca in their soil mixes before, and I've never done it, so I thought, why not? And also, as y'all can see, sorry, the lighting's not the best. I have blue leca because light blue be like one of my favorite colors. So I just thought the blues would go really good together. So yeah, I'm just gonna be mixing up my potting soil with leca, because honestly, I just had this leca laying around and I wasn't using it at all. So now I can finally use it for something. Anyways, let's go ahead and make some soil for my burle marx. Add some leca. So this is what our soil mix is going to be looking like. I think it looks really good. I'm super excited to pot my plant into here. But anyways, let's just start doing that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my pot. I'm gonna put a bark chip on the bottom just so no leca starts falling out the bottom. Let's see how the moss pole is gonna be looking in here. Okay, that should work pretty nicely. Now I gotta friggin' add the plant in here too. We have to multitask. But I do want to show you guys the root ball real quick. I don't want to disturb it too much since we already had a bunch of roots break off, but hopefully she will have an easy time moving into her new home. And now I'm just gonna fill up the pot with the rest of the soil. All right, so she's all repotted in here, and now I just need to tie her to the moss pole, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, y'all, so I did manage to finish repotting her, but it was a bit of a struggle, if I'm being honest. So basically, this moss pole is not the most stable. I had to freaking put little bamboo stakes on the back just so she wouldn't fall over, because it was literally bending in half. So I don't really know how I'm feeling about her new setup anymore. I thought this was gonna be nice and easy, but it's been the opposite, so we'll just see how this goes. Anyways, let's just go ahead and freaking water this thing. So I have a watering can already filled up with some water. Inside is just some Super Thrive liquid dirt and some mosquito bits, but I'm gonna start by watering the moss pole and then we're gonna water the soil. All right, so I basically just water my moss poles from the top, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, and now since she is all watered up, let's go ahead and put her back in her spot. So this is what she's looking like now, and I think she looks really cute. I did end up putting that other bamboo stake in because she was starting to lean over, but other than that, I think she looks really good. And as long as I'm not moving her a bunch, I think the moss pole should be fine. I also really liked how the soil mix turned out. I think it looks really cute with the pot. But yeah, anyways, wish her luck, y'all, on this new setup. Well, that took way longer than I was expecting. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the last task in this video, which is watering some more plants. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so it's time to water some plants, and I actually recorded this part a couple days ago, so that's why I'm wearing something different. But we're just going to be using some liquid dirt as well as some Super Thrive. This stuff's really good for root development, and we're also going to be using this Jack's Classic all-purpose fertilizer, which I've never used, so I'm super excited to be using it. It's some pretty strong stuff. And then we're also going to be using mosquito bits just to fight them fungus gnats. But yeah, so I'm just gonna mix up some more liquid dirt. I already had a little bit in my jug right here, but I just wanted to add a little bit more. So that's what I went ahead and did. You only need to put a cap full of this stuff into a gallon of water, and then you just mix it all up. And now it is time to add all of our ingredients together. So first we're going to put in some Super Thrive. And then we're going to add the mosquito bits. Then the liquid dirt. And last but not least, the Jack's Classic all-purpose fertilizer. And now we're going to fill up the rest with some tap water, and we're gonna water my plants. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and a comment. If you didn't know, I'd be uploading plant content here every Wednesday and Friday, so if you'd be looking for that, I got you. You should definitely check out my other videos, and if you already have, you should think about clicking that subscribe button. Sorry I uploaded on a Thursday this time, but I won't do it again, or at least not super soon. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are from. I'm gonna head out now though. Bye.